Dave Scaturro, welcome to Out of the Hourglass. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful, Molly. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And I know I said this to you when we were, talking about this episode before, and I say this to really a lot of clients who we have long-term relationships with, that it feels very long overdue to get you on here. So my apologies for waiting for so long to invite you. But I'm so excited for this
Yeah, I'm
conversation
a
today.
fan. I listen to your podcast,
Thank
so
you.
it's an honor to be a
Thank you.
member of it.
So there's a lot of my voice out in the void these days, which is
Yeah.
scary.
And if you remember, Molly, you asked, I think, for feedback a while back about the podcast because I think you knew I was a listener. What was the
Yeah,
one thing I
I
shared?
know.
It hasn't changed, by the way.
Hasn't changed yet. It's the intro music.
Intro music. Oh my gosh, are we in like the 1970s? Come on, we could do better,
I
Molly.
know, I know. All right, Carter, who's our editor here, you heard this. It
Carter,
needs
come
to
on, man,
change.
let's
I need
go.
Carter's help. To
2025.
be fair, I haven't asked Carter to help me with that yet.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been on the list, but I do need
Sure.
Carter's help to make that happen.
Okay, good.
So
Let's do it.
listeners, you're
Hopefully, I
probably going to
invoke the
hear,
change.
yeah, you're probably going to hear some different intro music, maybe even for this podcast. It might be different. Who knows?
Woo!
We'll see what we can do quick turnaround wise. But no, I remembered it. I remember that feedback. Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited. We were just chatting before we started recording here. Just got back from Seattle from the Grand Summit. It was a great event. Like I said, we just did a debrief about it too. I'm happy to have it behind us because it's a lot of moving parts, but we're pretty proud of it. And you were saying you had a pretty good experience there.
Yeah, you should be proud, Molly.
Thank
I
you.
know how much work goes into these events, and you guys brought it.
Thank
Not
you.
only the caliber of contractor that were there, the number of them, the speakers and presentations. We
Mhm.
had the opportunity to hear not only best practices, but case studies, things that went wrong and what they
Yeah.
learned from those. And amazing vendors, of course, Paint
Yeah.
Scout, Hire Bus. It's great to connect with those people, some of the vendors that we currently use. And it was a wonderful event. And thank you so much for putting it on for our industry and our members.
Well, it's one of those things where you're so happy just to get to it. And when that registration opens and you see folks kind of coming in and hugging, I actually just had an email from the hotel this morning and she said I could feel like the family like culture that exists within that group. I
Yeah.
mean, the hugging that was happening and the smiles from people who hadn't seen each other in 6 months or a year. It's just cool to see. Like they're just like friendship has really kind of instilled itself in this group, which I mean that's a testament to folks like you and the members who are a part of it. So it's good
Yeah.
stuff. It's good
Yeah.
energy.
And if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't been to a Grand Summit yet, I think
Oh,
you should reconsider. Come to the next one.
come to the next one. You heard it straight from Dave's mouth. All right, let's jump into today's conversation because this is going to be a good one. This is kind of a twofold. This is about you having an issue or a problem that you were looking to solve and utilizing peers in your mastermind group and the power of best practice sharing and collaborating to help you kind of see it through, develop it, and give you some good perspective. Which I mean, that's why Summit exists. That's why you get involved in so many industry events because you're looking to learn from each other, right? So for those who don't know you on our podcast or in the group, can you just give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Dave Scaturro. I am a proud second generation painting contractor. This is our 50th year in business.
Wow, that's a
My
round of
father,
applause. That's
thank you, thank you. Yeah,
amazing.
it is. I feel honored to be a part of such a great company that stood the test of time, that still has a good reputation, and we're growing.
Mhm.
It all started in 1975 with my father and uncle. They took a chance and they built something pretty special. And I have the honor of trying to carry on their legacy to hopefully pass it in a better place than where I found it when I leave. I
Love
currently
that.
work with my two brothers. We are made up of many great people to create what Alpine is. We have 5 divisions to the company now. We focus primarily on commercial and industrial painting, but we also have complementary divisions such as an in-house blasting and painting facility. We have a flooring division that specializes in specialty coatings and polishing. And then we have our newest division, which is a welding and fabrication shop that
Wow.
complements a lot of the industrial work that we do.
Wow. It's a lot going on over there.
A lot going on, a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're still always evaluating what's the next thing that we want to get into to continue to grow and prosper.
That continuous improvement, it never
Mhm.
it never ends. When did you get involved in the business? And was this always something that you thought you were going to do?
So my dad was my hero. He was the guy
Mhm.
that I wanted to be around. And, when he was first starting the company, he wasn't always around. He was investing a lot of time into work. So anytime I can get with him was a good time. And that a lot of time became coming to work to see him. And at an early age, I would love going to the shop and checking in, and he put me to work, right? So 14, 15, we were working in their shop facility, organizing paint buckets and sweeping floors. That quickly turned into full summer and winter breaks. You were working for the company part-time. I thought maybe right after high school, I was going to join the business, and he had other ideas. He said, well, there's no spot for you unless you get a further education and can provide more value. Otherwise, you can jump into the industry, but it has to be with another company and learn and then bring that back. So that really pushed my brothers and I, because we all had the same idea of joining the family business, to get further educated and bringing value back to the company. So I started full time after I graduated college, and that's, over 20 years ago now. It's been a long ride.
Yeah, it's probably gone by pretty fast, though, I can imagine.
Yeah, my mom would say the days are long, but the years are short.
Yes, that is a very fair statement. I respect that your dad wanted you to either learn, go elsewhere to learn, or pursue an education first before joining. He basically, wanted you to see what was out there as well, and then at the same time to be able to bring back, value to the company. Did you struggle with that at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't give a lot of pushback. I just didn't always see myself as a college grad. I struggled through high school. I did okay in school, but it just wasn't necessarily a sweet spot for me. And it wasn't until I got to college that I really had to dial in time management and make sure I was truly working towards these goals. And I think those things, if I wanted to graduate, if I wanted to succeed, I had to apply a lot of these skills that then carried over into the business.
It's, you push through something that's uncomfortable to hit the goal that you want. I love what you said just about, wanting to kind of carry on the legacy and, make it better than make it better for the next generation. I think Colin and I feel that way as well. This is a first generation business. We've been around 21 years now. And we're moving into that position where it will become ours one day. But that comes with a lot of weight and a lot of pressure. I mean, we've established a brand. Brian has established a brand for so many years. And how do we continue that, making it, a bigger or greater version of it, our own version of it, while still remembering kind of what the mission was at the very beginning.
Well, that's where the core values come in, right?
Yeah.
And those will sit with you throughout your career and throughout the business longevity. And you'll be able to kind of guide the business once you're at the helm. That's what we did, and make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun adventure ahead. We'll call it that.
Yeah, it's an honor.
So we've been working, or Brian has been working with you since 2021. I looked up kind of the date as when you began kind of a part of Summit. But then you also joined the Legacy Mastermind group, probably not long after that, around probably within a year or two. For listeners who don't know or are not a part of masterminds, what is the mastermind perspective for you?
Wow. The masterminds have been instrumental for my personal and professional growth.
Okay.
They're a soundboard. They're a group of other high caliber business owners and high performers that you can share best practices with. You can share your successes and failures with. You can create deep friendship and connection, which is something I'm always looking for. And you can have accountability partners. You can have people that hold you accountable to what you said you were going to do and are pushing you to be better. So, for me, it's such an instrumental group for my growth. I bring ideas back, I bring initiatives back, and our company has been so much better because of it.
That's fantastic. You got some pretty great folks in your group as well. Folks who are like fully committed and intentional and very much, join or participate to gather ideas, but even more so to help and to share, with each other, which is pretty cool. So I wanted to ask you that just to kind of set the table for kind of the conversation here, because you recently, I guess it was still same year, 2025,
Yep.
you attended a mastermind retreat in Park City with your group, which looked like a blast, by the way. You guys work hard, play
Was
hard.
for sure.
It looked awesome. But I was talking to Maureen, from Nolan Consulting, and she just was really inspired by, the challenge that you brought to the table, the conversations that were had, and just thought it'd be worth sharing. So putting that aside, let's talk about what was the challenge that you brought to the table at the mastermind retreat. What was it that was an area of focus for you in the business?
Yeah, our challenge was that as we continue to grow, we put a lot of effort into the structure of our company and the vision of where we're going. And we try to encourage our people, our managers to lead their teams and step up in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And we pushed heavily that culture had to be a big piece of this as we grew. We wanted the feeling of this company to be something where we have teamwork at the core, and that we're not siloing the company as we create all these different divisions, that we're working together. And I think we were very successful in the office to create this structure and this feeling that we were all part of the same team. But what I noticed was that over the last few years, as we were really driving and pushing and advancing as a company, both in revenue and more people, is that we had a little more turnover than I wanted in the field.
Yeah.
That we had these new, hungry, young, and up and comers, these capable individuals that we pinned as possibly our next crew leads, and they were stepping out of the business. They were leaving us. And when we started to perform some exit interviews after some deep probes, we realized that they felt like they just didn't have a pathway to the top. They didn't have a clear vision of how they can be the next leader in the organization. Even though that we thought they would be, they didn't see it for themselves.
I'm sure that resonates with many listeners here, no matter what size your business is.
Yeah. And I noticed that when we started doing like surveys, and I would ping guys on either one-on-ones or in our safety meetings, they didn't see the culture that I was portraying in these marketing videos that we would push out on social platforms, and what we were talking about in the meetings. They were like, the company's very different in the field than it is in the office, Dave. And a lot of times they'd say that with hesitation. They'd be afraid to even communicate this. And that made me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me sad because I want everybody to feel what I feel. I want everybody to feel the vibe that we've created in this office. And I want everyone to feel that they have a future, that this is not just a job, this could be their career, and that there's opportunity for advancement. Not that, hey, I'm capped out and I'll never be anything more than a painter. That to me makes me sad. So I wanted to change that. I sat down with our leadership team and said, I think we could do better. I think we can create a better vision and structure, not just for the office, but for the field. And I think one way we could do that is through a career development ladder. And I used the mastermind to help. We put together some ideas. I put it all in writing. We created a committee. We created a big goal for the company to create a career ladder by the end of 2024. And I used my team in the peer group to bounce these ideas off. And that's what Maureen heard at our mastermind meeting in Park City. It was kind of a template for what this could be. It was kind of a first version of, and I asked for feedback, and I got great feedback. I mean, I'm so thankful to have people that have great field cultures in my mastermind group. Guys like Ryan Parsons with Brothers Gutters that has created a mini empire, right? He franchised his company and exited successfully. I mean, that's so uncommon. And the reason he did that is because he had a very clear vision for all of his people on how they can grow within the company. He created visuals, he created structures, he created an LMS platform. He's well ahead of where I even am at now, but I at least now have a clear vision of what our platform could turn into. And that wouldn't have happened without the sharing in our mastermind group.
Yeah, they have built an empire, which is pretty cool. And it looks like they have fun while they do it. Did you have, as you said, Alpine is in its 50th year of business, and you guys have grown tremendously over the years. You've got a big team. Did you have some versions of kind of a training program, career ladder that just have evolved over time, but didn't really kind of go the stretch of what it actually needed to happen?
Of course. I think anyone, when you get to our size, you're going to have training programs. In fact, I would argue that our training program is very good. It's not that we don't have a good program for training for safety and quality, which is something that we've always had in place. There's initial training, there's ongoing training, there's certifications where our team can get training. And we put a lot of effort into that. But Molly, where we missed the mark was there's more to just safety and quality in a training program. We wanted to incorporate culture, which is our third core value. We have safety, quality, and culture. 3 core values, very simple, very clear. We have a top 10 list for each core value so we can break it down and get into more depth. But at its core, those 3 things drive all the big decisions within our company.
So you felt like safety and quality were there, but it was the culture piece that you weren't fully living.
Yes, that's definitely a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Having kind of missing components in the field, having our cultures mismatched, right? Not really understanding from a craft worker's perspective what our culture means is a problem, and we've got to better define that and train around that. So we made that a priority, and we put that as one of the top 5 pillars in our career ladder. So currently, and I would imagine if anyone has, let's just say, a career ladder or a program for advancement for their craft workers, it's going to have skill involved, right? Skill is a part of it. And that's what I think most people think of when it's like, oh, if I can make more money, that's because I've learned more skills and I'm more value to the company, right? I can perform my job better, more profitable, and therefore I should be compensated higher. And that's a piece of it. That's absolutely a part of our career ladder. Skill and production are one of 5 components.
Okay.
The other 3 are our core values. So safety, and we go deep into what safety means. There's quality, and then there is culture. And then the 5th kind of aligning track, we call it our add-on, is a leadership track. Because for us, skill production, safety, quality, culture, every single individual has to meet that criteria. So those 4 are predominant. We encourage every employee to have the desire to be a leader, a crew lead, grow within the organization, whether up or over. But that's not mandatory. If I have a craft worker that feels very good about being a number 2 guy, that's their spot, that's where they've always envisioned themselves to be, I'm not going to force them into a leadership role. But the guys that want it, the guys that get it, have the capacity to get there, we're going to encourage them and give them a vision of how they can rise the ranks. And I think that was a big missing part, not emphasis on a crew leadership track and having this culture component as a part of our career development.
It's like I'm forgetting the name of the book, but the rock stars and the superstars. It's like, you at least have had the conversations, even with the folks who want to be that master number 2, and they're really happy there, then they're a rock star at that master number 2. And we need rock stars, right? But we also want to be able to identify those superstars who are ready to grow in the ranks and ready to contribute more and add more value. Because that's all. You can't ask for more, right? As being in management in this business and looking to grow your team, to be able to develop those superstars has got to feel pretty good.
When you see someone that came into the company with no experience and within just a few years, they're now leading a crew, like that's exciting to me. That gets me excited when I see guys that came out of high school and didn't really know, this was just, they're taking a shot, they heard good things about our company, and now they're one of our leaders. Oh man, like I get jazzed up about seeing somebody really shine to their potential, because that's like they're rising the tide for all of us. Just by them being better, we're all getting better. And I love that concept.
Yeah. And how much that also impacts, their own world and their family and their friends. It has a ripple effect when you can help develop somebody and help them see their potential. It goes way beyond even more than you can really see. How early do you introduce this career ladder to your people, especially to new hires?
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Cool. Love it.
It's a part of our hiring practice now. When they're onboarded, we do an initial skills assessment to see where they fall on the ladder, because you can have a guy that has 20 years of experience and he wants to make, let's just say, $33 an hour. And we say, okay, well, $33 an hour, let's talk about that. If you want to make $33 an hour and you want to be on our flooring team, you'd be at a level 2. So let's discuss what are the components of a level 2 and evaluate, do you meet all this criteria? Because maybe you are a level 2 for skill, but maybe you don't have enough safety training and we need to get you up there. So maybe we're going to start you at $30 with a very clear plan on how to get you to 33. We're going to do it within 6 months, providing you can hit these metrics. And it's like, okay, now I got a pathway of how to do that. So yeah, right out of the jump, we're doing an initial assessment where we're evaluating their skills. Theoretically, we're putting a brush in their hand the first week, and we're just trying to see if they can be competent in certain things. And then, we're asking them a series of questions and having them take comprehension exams to, fill these things out, both in the field, right? So we're having one of our crew leaders evaluate them, and then it'll go up the chain. And typically one of our managers or directors will also evaluate them. Could be a quality and safety manager. It could be a project manager. It could be one of our directors, like director of ops, or even one of the owners that takes a look at it and asks them a series of questions that we've laid out to make sure that they really do know the expectations of what we're looking for from skills, safety, quality, and leadership perspective.
So what I'm hearing is you all share the responsibility of helping to develop people. It's not just one person's job to check in and make sure that they have gained those skills. It could be a variety of people, which is awesome.
Yeah. We're a village here, Molly.
Yeah.
We're at a size now where it can't just be one person. And it really shouldn't be. We should have specialists evaluating each individual from a different lens and have checks and balances to make sure guys aren't getting fast tracked that may not deserve it or getting held back that should be pushed up.
All good plans, have good intentions behind it, but we all know that this requires a lot of people, just kind of as you were mentioning, to actually make this idea come to life. Everyone's got to play their part.
Yeah.
Were there any pushback, from folks in the field who just didn't see the value of doing this? There's that old guard term often gets thrown around. What happened there?
Yeah, change is hard, right?
Yeah.
Molly, change is hard.
Yes.
And when you have certain people in your organization that feel like they're responsible for training or they're currently at the helm in the field, they say, why change a good thing? I'm already doing training. What do you mean I have to do it differently now? That is always a challenge.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is talking about the why, talking about the reasons we want to change, the reasons we want to evolve, how having this new program and clarity is going to be helpful, not just for them, but for the entire company, and what are the benefits, and then getting them engaged and to be able to support it. And that doesn't happen in one conversation. That is something that happens with repetition. That happens by showing and proving the value of it, by taking a small cohort through it and discussing what this could mean for guys, where in the past they were getting raises just once a year. Now they're eligible for raises twice a year, providing they can grow and evolve. How we've had the same, showing data, we've had the same crew leads for the last 10 years. They've been in this spot. We've only had 2 new guys advance up. And if we are going here, in order to get there, we need X amount of new crews and we need people to lead them, and we just don't have them. Like, how do we develop these people? Just showing this kind of vision for the future and them shaking their head and saying, okay, I can see it now. Right. And that takes time, that takes repetition, that takes, in some cases, ultimatums, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's a last resort, but it's like, hey guys, we're doing this. This is happening. And I'm either going to get your support and your buy-in, or I don't know if you could be a part of this team.
Yeah. Right. When it's about the culture at the end of the day, and that culture is your value, this is the way that we're operating here. And I mean, get on board or hit the stop at the end of the day. Who was a part of when you were developing this career ladder, this training kind of pathway, who was on your committee to help see this through?
This was our most expensive committee in company history.
Tell us more.
This was the 3 owners. So
Okay.
myself and my 2 brothers. This was our director of operations. This was one of my most young and up and coming. He worked in the field for over 8 years. He's now been in the office for 2. He's worked in project management. He's worked in sales and estimating, and he knows our business better than most. And his father is one of our most seasoned crew leads. So he's a second generation Alpine employee as well.
Nice.
And he was instrumental. Shout out to Ronnie Vasilick. Huge lift by this guy to continue to evaluate over and over again how this program could be better and how we can continue to roll it out to the team. Why? Because he was in the field. He was the most recent guy. Look, I worked in the field, but it was 20 years ago.
Right.
He was in the field 2 years ago, rose to the top of the ranks running crews, and then transferred into the office. And that's a success in and of itself. So he had the respect of the team, and he really wanted to push this because he recognized this could be the reason this company catapults up into the future and has sustainability, which is what he's looking for. He's considerably younger than me, and ultimately he may be one of the next people to potentially run this company, and take it over. So he was another person. Then we had people based on HR. We had our hiring and recruiting manager. She's working towards becoming the culture manager, and she's been instrumental and a part of it. We had our quality manager, our safety manager, our resource manager. So there was probably like 8 to 10 people at any given time providing input on this program.
That's a big committee, and you're right, an expensive committee. But what it shows is the level of seriousness in which you took this project.
Yep.
If you were going to do it, you were going to do it right.
How you do anything is how you do everything, Molly. We're going to do it to the best of our ability. You better believe it.
Now, is that committee still meeting about this program?
That's correct.
How often do you guys meet?
So we were every other week. We met for a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't just a once a month meeting. This was every other week. And it started out as an hour and a half meeting. Then it became an hour meeting. Then it became a half-hour meeting. Now we're at the point where we're checking in once a month, and we have checks and balances to keep it alive. Because it's one thing to create it, but then who owns it and who keeps it alive? Who keeps it green and growing and exciting, and who's making the changes and who's providing the feedback? So that's our biggest challenge right now, is getting the engagement from the craft workers and getting them to want it.
Yeah.
Our current goal for 2026, we just had our strategy meeting, is to have every single employee either go through the initial assessment, because it's on them to do it. And that's the real rub. Like, they have to take the initiative. If you want this, and it's a requirement of your job.
Yeah.
But if you want this, you have to get the initial evaluation, because, some guys say I'm a level 3 and I should be getting X amount of dollars. Okay, well, let's prove it. Let's put it to the test and see where you stand. So initial evaluation or a level up. If you already have that evaluation, I want you to level up in 2026. So yeah, we'll see how this thing goes. So far, so good. It's not without challenges, but I'm excited about what this program will do for our team.
I love it. So when you brought this to the retreat in Park City, the committee had already been meeting. You had kind of a template for what you were going to do. Had you rolled it out yet?
No.
Okay.
No, we hadn't rolled it out. We rolled it out this summer. So at our company barbecue, we do a half day of training and a half day of celebrating. So the half day of training, that was our initial rollout for this program. We had small cohorts, people that we respect, people that we feel give good feedback, and leaders in the organization, and we put them through it. And we found pros and cons, and then we tweaked it, we kept refining it, and then we felt we were finally ready to roll it out for safety day, and we talked about it. And it's only been a few months. We've had some people that fully embraced it and are like, yes, I want to grow. And we are so excited, and we're recognizing those people, and we're highlighting their success. And we have some people that haven't opened it, and that's our responsibility, to continue to encourage them about the why and the benefit to them and to the company if they put themselves through the program and fully embrace it.
Yeah, what's interesting is, it's a requirement of the job, right, to go through the initial assessment, but you also want to see that initiative there. But what I love about kind of the continuous pushing from the top, it's the culture piece. There's so many people who don't understand what their potential is, and that kind of need their drive to be unlocked or to be given permission to try. Have you seen that, whether it's been different people on your team who maybe were a bit more introverted and didn't really think that they had the opportunity to grow, but this push has changed their own mindset?
I think you're always going to have the people that maybe don't necessarily see themselves as a leader in the organization.
Yeah.
Maybe, to your point, they're more introverted, they keep to themselves, but you see something in them. or their crew lead or their manager sees something in them, and you want to encourage that. So yes, this is a great opportunity because it's a way that we can represent. There's a leadership track. Go out for it. Give it a shot. Let's learn something new. Let's at least try it and see what happens. We have some developing crew leads now that were always number 2 guys or worked, underneath an existing crew lead, and we're giving them smaller projects, smaller teams. Let's see if you can win on this smaller job, and then we'll kind of get you up to the next larger project. And that seems to be working well for us. But yeah, absolutely. You're going to find these diamonds in the rough, right? People that maybe when they came on board, you never saw them as a leader, and wow, they surprised you. They wanted it more than everybody else. They are engaged, and they really emphasize the culture and what you want to create within your organization. So it's been a blessing. It's been great to see guys that you wouldn't necessarily think are going to be your next shining star step up.
It's like a whole new iteration of the business in a sense when you see that happen. Was there anything that changed for how you were going to approach the program or even the rollout from the program from the feedback that you received at the mastermind retreat?
Yeah, we have to. So what we found is we just anticipated that everyone would be able to open up the app, right? We use Procore, it's a project management software. They would just be able to open it up on their phone. When the reality is a lot of people aren't technologically sound, aren't comfortable in different platforms, don't really use their phone at the same level as other people. Maybe, the younger guys are more comfortable. The older guys are like, dude, I don't even use my phone. So it was a little more hand holding. It was simplifying the steps. It was breaking it down in writing. It was spending a little bit more time training and talking about how it's not that challenging. Let me provide an SOP on steps 1 through 20 on how you do this. Let me provide extra training on how this is going to work. Because once they get into it, it gets easier. What I learned, Molly, from our mastermind peer group is that like Ryan Parsons is a perfect example. He simplified the process to the degree that he has an LMS platform that you log in and you show up and hit play. And it literally walks you through. There's a video and then there's the test. And then you fill that out and you can't go to the next level until you finish this level. He simplified the system that anyone can work their way through it. He created less friction, and that's why it's probably so successful. He spent a ton of time, energy, effort, and money on that platform. And one day I hope to get to the level where he's at. But yeah, we're crawling right now. Hopefully in 2026 we'll walk, and then 2027 we'll be running. But it's going to take some time, effort, money, thought to get it to where he has his program.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you're investing in your people, and which in turn becomes an investment in your business. And you can't run without crawling. So you gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
The mastermind group itself, so that bringing that to the table, bringing this issue to the table and getting their feedback was beneficial to you. And I'm sure that there have been other things that you've brought to the table in other meetings. Like I said, you've been a part of this group for a while. We're all very busy people, some busier than others. I'd vouch you're probably busier than me running, this organization. And you have a lot of people who look up to you, and your calendar's probably full of a lot of meetings. How do you justify adding, this other monthly meeting to your calendar? Because you have commitments personally and professionally. And my experience with you is that when you participate in something, you give your all. There's a genuine authenticity to show up very intentionally. How do you justify another monthly meeting for this group?
You have to be the type of person that looks for delayed gratification, right?
Ooh.
You're not going to just show up to one meeting and be like, oh my God, I'm a different person. I have all these things. You have to be the type of person that says, I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to be a good study. I'm going to take down notes. I'm going to have an open mind. I'm a continuous learner. I'm going to surround myself with great people that are at a higher level, maybe not in revenue, but different areas of their business. They're better than I am. And I want to be a sponge. I want to learn from them. I was blessed at an early age to be introduced to the PCA. My uncle, at the time I came into the company, was heavily involved with the organization. And he said, Dave, I'm glad you went to college. I'm glad you're bringing that back into our company. But if you want to get your master's degree in painting, you will never stop learning. You will read books. You will surround yourself with other people that are doing it better than you are. You will learn from them. You will take those best practices, and then you will make that wheel faster, more efficient, and then you will incorporate it into our business. And that's what I've always believed. So when I had the opportunity to get connected to a mastermind group, especially with the amazing people that are in our group, equally as engaged, I jumped on it. And it's an easy justification now, Molly. It's that one meeting that I look forward to the most, that I know that if I don't show up, if I'm underprepared, if I'm frazzled, I'm going to get called out. And nobody likes that. You know, we've had to call out certain people in the group because they just weren't present. They didn't put in the work. And we had to say, hey, you know, not for nothing, you know, we're all pulling our weight. And if you can't pull yours, maybe this isn't the right time for you to be in the group. And it's amazing what that'll do when you get that conversation. You're a top performer and nobody holds you accountable because you're at the top of the org chart, and then you get called out by your peers. Wow, what a 180 that you'll do to try and, I'm going to show up. I'm going to provide value. Nobody mails it in our group. And a huge thank you to your father because of that. He has an incredible agenda. He challenges each and every one of us. We read books, we share what we learned, we get vulnerable with each other, we share personal experiences that help shape the people that we are. It's an amazing opportunity that I feel so blessed to be a part of. So I encourage anybody that wants to grow themselves personally and professionally to surround yourself with great people, and a peer group is a good way to do that.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to get yourself involved, not only within Summit, but across. I mean, the PCA has peer groups, the CPIA. I mean, there's what's been really cool about seeing this industry and just other trades industries over the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. There's been a big emphasis on that peer group kind of mentality. And there's so much energy in the room, you know, metaphorically, for collaboration and people doing things faster and better than we were able to do before. And the best way to learn is from the people who've been doing it, right?
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, we've been really pushing the mastermind, you know, groups here, where our goal, speaking of goals, you know, for 2026 is that all of our Summit members are involved in mastermind groups. I would say about 55 to 60% are right now. And we get it. Not everybody's group people. And we're not going to force, you know, a square into a round hole, but we know the impact that being a part of a mastermind group can provide. And so it's just a different level of engagement than, you know, that one-to-one coach relationship is so important. And that's our foundation. That's where we start. But that peer group kind of mentality on top of it is where, that's where like I think the further impact can happen.
Yeah.
Because you're also just talking to real people. At the end of the day, we're all just humans just trying to do a good job, show up and be the best versions of ourselves. And these are resources that can help you do that.
And not only for business, Molly, at the last peer group that we attended, we were blessed, right? So we learn from each other. We're in a classroom setting. We have to come prepared. We have to do the pre-work, but then we also get to have fun experiences together. So there was a point in time where we're out skiing as a group, and I'm riding in the chairlift and I'm having a conversation with Neil Roach, president of Painters USA. Great company, somebody that I admire, great human. And I'm sharing with him a challenge that I'm having with my daughter, and how she's now this teenager and she's beautiful and smart and talented, but I'm struggling communicating with her. I'm struggling connecting with her. And he gave me such sound advice that has stuck with me, that I play on a loop inside my head. He's like, stop trying to fix her problems. Just be there to listen, empathize, just say less, listen more. And that sticks with me to this day, where I'm just like, can't always say I do it great, but Sophia, I'm trying. And you know, it's just such wisdom, and you learn those things by surrounding yourself with great people. So I feel blessed to be, you know, lucky enough to be invited in this group.
Well, you give that back to other people as well. You're a great listener. I mean, we know folks like engaging, you know, with you. So it's like that mutual gratitude is most definitely there. Thank you for joining me. This was a great conversation. I love to hear, you know, where you guys have taken this career ladder. It sounds like there's so much potential, and you got big goals for 2026 that some folks don't even, recognize what their opportunity is going to be next year.
Right.
And anybody who joins Alpine is going to have great opportunity, which is very cool. That's like to be a small business and providing that opportunity to folks in your community is pretty special.
Thank you, Molly. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, if you are listening to this podcast and you are not a Nolan Consulting member, I want you to reconsider. It has helped transform my relationships with my leadership team, who happen to be my brothers and best friends, with our existing directors, managers, leaders, so that we as owners are able to get out of the way and encourage the next leaders to rise the ranks. It has helped provide me with a better lifestyle. It has helped provide our business with success. And I could not have done it as effectively if I wasn't a member of this group. Thank you to my coach, Brian Nolan. Thank you to you, Molly. Thank you to Colin and all the other amazing people, Maureen, Deidre, Sydney. There's so many I can't count, but I see how engaged you are, and I really appreciate it. It has made me a better person because of it.
That's very kind of you to say, Dave. Thank you. I am proud to say, I feel like we do have a very engaged group here, especially kind of coming off last week. I was really proud of our team and kind of just continue to be, because I know that we care at the end of the day. It's one of our values. We changed it a couple of years ago because it just was like, this is so obvious. This is a value of ours. We've just been living it the whole time without really saying it, but we really do. We care. We care about you, your family dynamics with your own, within the business, with the people on your team, because that's what small business is at the end of the day. It's kind of like a small family, a growing small family, and just in terms of how closely you interact on a daily basis. But this was fun. I appreciate it. Again, I should have had you on a long time ago. So thanks for your patience and just kind of sharing your story here. And I always say until next time, because there's always opportunity for more topics and more conversation. So until next time,
good. Let's run it back again in 2026.
Let's do it. Let's see where we're at with the career ladder.
There we go.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Molly.